Hey guys, CDTV, the first Australian, Scottish, Canadian, Irishman here. Any other guesses for my accent? Leave them in the comments below. So you may remember a little while back I did a video on 10 most overhyped rap songs. So obviously, the next natural step is to take that, flip it around and do a video on the opposite thing, which is the most overhated rap songs. And this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while because there are quite a few rap songs that get a bit too much shade thrown at them in my opinion. Keep in mind that I don't love all these songs, I just think they get bashed a little bit too much for what they are. So with that being said, this is CDTVProductions. Smash follow on Twitter at CDTVProductions because we're still trying to hit 10k on there before the end of the year. And yeah, let's jump right into this list of 10 rap songs that are overhated in my opinion.
25 running out of time again. 27 club, how can I get in? Dark things in my mind again.
Alright, gonna start this list off by getting the one I think absolutely no one is gonna agree with me on out of the way first. The like-dislike ratio is all you need to see to know that people really don't enjoy this, although a lot of the hate does come from Vic's recent comments on XXXTentacion after his death as well. I've seen firsthand how much people hate this song too. I actually had one of my followers on Instagram tell me that they won't watch my videos anymore because I said I kinda enjoy this song, and thus I'm supporting Vic Mensa. I guess separating the art from the artist only applies in cases where you want it to, but okay. But while I don't think it's incredible, this song isn't really that bad. Definitely not nearly as many likes as dislikes bad. Sure, Vic Mensa making an emo rap song like this sounds kinda forced and unnatural, and at some points his delivery just exactly replicates Juice WRLD.
I'm fine, just a little fucked up. Crush a blue pill, put it in a red cup.
But I can't lie, a lot of the cadences here are infuriatingly catchy. This song is actually very hard to get out of your head after you hear it, even if it is a bit of a cringy switch up from Vic's usual style. Not perfect, but every time I hear it, I can't really help but sing along with it now.
Okay, I got a lock on the streets. Shout out to T3, and he brought it in cause of me. You don't know nothing about me.
This one received a less than warm reception from the general hip-hop audience and online publications alike. For example, the website The Ringer, which placed it very low on their ranking of every Drake song, worst to best. Interestingly, a lot of the hate on this song from the hip-hop audience also involves XXXTentacion's fanbase, just like with the previous song on here. Just look at the YouTube upload of this song, which has a negative like ratio, scroll to the comments, and almost every single one is about how Drake stole X's flow from Look At Me in his verse. And it's kinda hard to deny it with how similar they do sound, even down to the actual rhymes that they use.
Demon just got out of can. I gave my bro in advance. Love is just not in my plans. I like bitch, you was your mess. Can't keep my dick in my pants.
But even considering that, I think I prefer Drake's implementation of the flow, purely because it appeals to my soft, mainstream ears which can't handle brutal, distorted sounds like the ones found on Look At Me. This track was actually one of my favourites on More Life, and even though I'm not a huge fan of Giggs, I do feel like his casual attitude works well with the song here. Despite the flow stealing, I do find this to be quite a hype track.
I tell her beautiful and how long it took for you to put it on. It was early in the morning. She was in with a model out of a MacBook,
Concentrating on the way my eyeliner
thinking.
To be honest, I can't think of too many Kendrick songs which are legitimately disliked by a large number of people, but this one is definitely one of the ones that has received the most criticism from his fans. And most of that criticism comes from the very mainstream sound of the track with this incredibly sugary hook from Colin Monroe.
And girl, that's fine, but I wanna know, do you mind? No makeup today.
While I don't think it's amazing, I actually kinda like the hook on here, despite its poppiness. On top of that, I think the concept of the track and how it plays into the bigger picture of the Section 80 album is fantastic, and that's enough to make me actually enjoy this song a lot. The song starts with Kendrick questioning a girl on why she wears so much makeup and spends so much time on it when she looks great without it. Nothing too crazy yet, but then in the second verse it flips and tells the exact same story but from the woman's perspective, with Kendrick's bars bleeding into hers in a way that creates a really interesting sound. At the end of her verse, it's revealed why she wears makeup so much. On top of her having insecurities about her looks, it's also to cover up the signs that she's been physically abused. You see, this is the story of Keisha, one of the main characters Kendrick raps about on Section 80, and basically in the story she's a prostitute, so we can assume that that is where the abuse comes from. Her story is continued later on in the album, which Kendrick references in the last line of that verse, and if you haven't heard Section 80, I'd really encourage you to check it out because it is great conceptually. Because of the great storytelling, how it contributes to the album, and the fact that I actually don't mind the poppy sound, I love this song.
Piss in your grave, nigga behave, nigga behave, nigga behave. Us niggas, we can't behave, we mobbed on the pave. Got treated like slaves, young niggas treated like slaves.
On places like Reddit or in YouTube comments, I've seen people call this the worst song on Rodeo. And on the website Uprocks, this was ranked as the worst Travis Scott song ever released. Ever. First of all, Flying High is the worst song on Rodeo, and I am willing to fight about that in the comments. And second of all, I love this song. I don't think it's anywhere near one of Travis's worst. Hearing Kanye West getting so amped up and almost manic sounding on his verse is always welcome, and I love his raw, unapologetic tone with the lyrics. As for Travis himself, I feel like he contributes really well to the song too, with the rough texture of his autotune here adding to the grungy atmosphere the song has. I love how gritty and aggressive this one is. It's probably one of my most played tracks from Rodeo. Whilst I have seen quite a few people saying that they dislike this song, I haven't seen too many people give their reasoning as to why. So if you're someone that dislikes this song, just let me know why down in the comments.
I ain't nothing like these hoes. Don't compare me to no one. Money green like a sea love. Yeah, my pocket's so swollen. I ain't nothing like these hoes.
Now look, now is the moment to fully clarify and make it abundantly clear that I do not think that the songs on this list are all great. They're just ones that get more hate than I think they deserve. And honestly, I think most people hate this song purely because it's the Catch Me Outside girl that made it, instead of focusing on the actual song itself, and I feel like that's just a little bit unfair. Sure, her voice can get annoying at times, and sure, the ad-lib of her brutally horrendous laugh that sounds like a seagull choking plays for way too long during the second verse, and it hurts a little bit. But when I heard Danielle Bregoli made a rap song, I didn't expect it to be competently made like this song actually was. Yeah, a lot of that can be attributed to how the song was engineered and the autotune that's placed on her voice, but she at least seems to have a decent sense of how to put a hook together that sticks with you, and the verses are pretty smooth too. Also, I want to say that the music video is pretty cool, with it being put together in a way that makes it look like it's all one continuous shot. The song is nowhere near a masterpiece or anything, but I really don't think it's an abomination like a lot of people say it is.
I love it. Your boyfriend is a dork. Make love it. I just pulled up in the ghost.
I can actually understand why this song gets some shade thrown at it. It is a very simplistic song in almost every aspect, and that results in a sound that you either love or you either hate. Me personally, I love it. The reason why I think this is overhated is because I see so many people who I feel like maybe take the song a little bit too seriously, and even people that call it like a disgrace or disrespectful to hip hop because of how simple it is. But for me personally, I feel like the simplicity of it is what makes it so good. The beat really doesn't have too many elements to it. It's mostly just an infectious bass line similar to the one on Kanye's song Fade, and a very minimalistic drum pattern. The hook is just one phrase repeated twice, and the Kanye verse has the same rhyme scheme the whole way through, with his placement of the lines fitting very perfectly against the drums. The way it's executed makes it clear that Kanye West and Lil Pump deliberately crafted the song this way to be something that is short, fun, and infectious, and from my point of view, they absolutely nailed it. This was made with the intent of being a silly, viral hit, and it really succeeded at that.
Fun for a while, bet I really would've loved your smile. Didn't really wanna abort, but fuck it, what's one more lie to tell an unborn child?
Take an Eminem song, throw in some corny lines, put it on what is generally considered to be one of his worst albums, add a hook from a notable pop artist, and then you're bound to have a song that is going to be met with a less than enthusiastic reaction from quite a few people. But as someone that really likes the Recovery album, I don't hate mainstream pop rap Eminem. I also appreciate the fact that despite being a song that is clearly made for the radio, it does try to tackle a pretty serious issue on here, describing a situation where a woman cheats on her guy with the character that Eminem plays in the song. The guy finds out and leaves her, so she goes to Eminem, who's also starting to lose interest in her, but the problem is that he accidentally got her pregnant. As you can imagine, this eventually leads down the road to her getting an abortion, and this is worded pretty intensely. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like the way that the last lines of the second and third verse are put together, it's just done so powerfully, and those lines give me chills every time I hear them. As well, I quite like what Ed Sheeran does with the hook on here, even though I'm not a massive fan of his own music. For me, this was one of the best tracks from Revival. Not that it had a huge amount of competition, but I still really enjoy this one.
Hello, Marshall. My name's Colson. You should go back to Recovery. I know your ego is hurting just knowing that all of your fans discovered me. You like, damn, he a younger me. Except he dresses better and I'm ugly, always making fun of me.
I mean, if you even dare diss Eminem, you're bound to have the stands on your ass in an instant, and MGK experienced that wrath with this one. Keep in mind that I don't think this track is great by any means. It's still got a lot of weak disses, including one of the most flaccid opening lines in diss track history. Eminem dismantled a few things MGK said on here with his response track, and it maybe doesn't need 4 verses, but this is probably one of the best sounding MGK songs of recent times. Ronnie J produced this one, so it's basically a guarantee that it's gonna go hard to some capacity with those really strong buzzing 808s, and if there's one thing I can credit Machine Gun Kelly on, it's how he flows over this beat. Now maybe you feel like diss tracks shouldn't have hooks, and I can agree with that in some cases, but I do feel like the one on here just helps to make the song even more memorable. And to be fair, while I don't think there's a whole lot of good ones, he at least made a decent attempt at trying to throw some good shots at Eminem. I think one of the best ones was the line where he said Eminem is trying to be the old version of himself so much that he has basically became a stan of himself. To see a really even breakdown of everything on here, good and bad, check out both of Crypt's videos on this track, they're really well done. It's not perfect, and it's not even that solid as a diss track, but I don't think it deserved to be trashed in the way that it was. If you want to hate on something from MGK, hate on the rest of the Binge EP. That deserves it.
I done seen niggas get into fights over cigarettes like a pack of dogs. They get you hooked and then they laugh at y'all.
I really hate to break it to you, but your life's being played.
Now, a lot of people find this song to be very preachy or condescending overall, and I do understand that to a degree. I mean, I think Hobson even said when he made this song that it was inspired by all the stupid people on Earth, so that's not self-righteous at all. But most people bash this song for one single line. I'm sure you know it, so say it along with Hobson.
Did the man who invented college go to college? Okay then.
This line gets attacked way too much. It's really not that bad. I actually like the general point he's getting at with this line, basically saying, how can you make an education system that everyone else needs to go through if you yourself haven't been through that education system yourself? Obviously you're creating it, so there's no possible way that you could have been through it, but how can you set the standard for everyone else to go through it? And moreover, you've been successful off the creative idea of making a college, so you got success based off of your own ideas and not going through a system that people told you have to go through, kind of. That's the general idea of the line. Okay, maybe he could have wrapped the lines in a less memeable way, you know, not dropped in the, okay then, or maybe worded it differently, but it just gets bashed way too much for what the line is. And a lot of people discredit the song as a whole just because of that. Yeah, the way the hook is mixed takes some getting used to as well, and the outro of the song is just obnoxious. But I feel like Hobson also makes a lot of great points about society within his verses when he's not being too preachy. All of his bars about marketing are put together well, and he makes some nice points when talking about the influence that certain types of media can have over the way people act or perceive themselves. Yes, there is an air of self-righteousness to the track. I'm very aware of its flaws, but I feel like people harp on it so much to the point where they ignore any good aspects of it. Obviously, it's perfectly fine if you dislike it, as it is with every song on this list, but I just don't think everything on it should be completely dismissed because of a circle jerk around how bad one line was.
Gucci gang, 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 Gucci gang. Spread their racks on new chain. My bitch love do cocaine. Ooh.
From the moment I started planning my list, this song was number one in my mind. Hell, it's pretty much the song that inspired this entire list. This is commonly referred to as the worst hip-hop song of all time by many. It is one of the most disliked hip-hop videos on YouTube with 1.2 million dislikes. When I made my worst hit rap songs of 2017 list, there was multiple comments asking me where the hell this track was. And the reason it wasn't on there is because I really enjoy this song. Hell, I'd say it's one of the most replayable songs of 2017. I don't mind that the chorus is repetitive as hell. I don't mind the fact that the lyrics are all very disconnected from each other and don't really fit together that well. All of that just plays into how entertaining I find the track to be. I like the funny little lyrics about him doing drugs with his grandma, and him talking about his lean costing more than your rent, because even though it's not the peak of comedic songwriting, it brings a smile to my face when I listen to it. The production is really smooth too. The whistling synths and light piano keys create a little bit of a hypnotic sound, and I just appreciate the track for what it is, honestly. Lil Pump specializes in making songs that sound really carefree, and in my opinion, he does it really well. Gucci Gang is nowhere near one of the worst rap songs ever made. Like, I've seen just an insane amount of people say it is, and that is why I think Gucci Gang is definitely one of the most overhated rap songs ever made. Well guys, that is going to be it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching this one. I'd really appreciate you leaving a like if you enjoyed this one, and of course, you can subscribe if you want to. I'll definitely be coming out with some very good lists soon because we're getting close to end of year lists. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Bit of a long one, I think, because I kind of had to explain why I think the songs are overhated, and then why I think they're not that bad, and I wanted to really kind of get all of my thoughts out there, so that's why it's long. You guys know how I make my videos, so with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Definitely a lot more great videos coming soon, and that's all I got to say. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next one, and this is your boy CDTVProductions signing out.